Hi everyone, my name is Bethany with Craft with Bethany, and on this week's video, I'm going to give you an overview of this Sailrite machine. Now the Sailrite machine is an industrial machine, but it is very much more compact and portable than a traditional industrial machine that's built into a table. This one is built into a box or a case. It does have a big black top that goes over it, so it kind of looks like when you see like someone in a band or sound equipment and they have those big cases and the metal latches. That's exactly what it looks like. It's got a big handle on top and everything. And so it can be very portable for that reason. I will be honest, it definitely is heavy, even in a smaller compact version, because this is a full metal sewing machine. It's very, very durable. So it's truly an industrial, just a little smaller. So the reason I am enjoying this machine and been playing with it is because we will be using this machine as one of our rental options at the Lynn's Handmade Bag Making Retreat in October. Now, I'm going to be teaching at that retreat, and so I'm really excited about it. We're going to be making a beautiful bag. She's come up with a beautiful brand new pattern for this retreat. I'm so excited about it. But the thing that I'm teaching isn't using the same materials that you would typically use on an industrial machine when bag making. So instead of using vinyls and faux leathers and things like that, I'm going to be teaching something with quilting cotton. And typically you can't work that well with those fabrics on these machines, especially the smaller domestic threads. So when we were looking at options that we could bring into this retreat to, be able to do both ends of the spectrum, essentially, of sewing capabilities, we were like, well, what do we pick? And so Sailrite came across the table, was suggested in our teachers group, and we started investigating and learning more, and Lynn's and her husband went and met with the Sailrite team in person, took the machines for a spin, and there were two different options. It was this one right here, which is the LS model, and then there's another model that's blue, that's like a step up from this one, and the really main difference is that this one is straight stitch only, and the blue one is straight stitch and zigzag. So you have that option with the blue machine. But for us, really all we need is a straight stitch machine, so it worked out perfect to just get these. I actually really like the rusty kind of reddish color on it. Super fun. Now, it is an industrial machine. It does have a built-in walking foot. I'm going to take it for a spin in a minute so you can see it in action. And I also have stitched out several foundation paper piecing projects and samples on this machine, so I'll show you what they look like, because they look just as good as the ones that I make on my domestic machines, and it was really easy to do. So it's really nice to know that this machine can handle everything I'm going to kind of throw at it, which is really, really cool. Now, I will say this machine, as I mentioned, is an industrial, so while it is more smaller and compact, it is still heavy. With the case and everything, it's still 55 pounds. So I highly recommend if you get one of these and decide to tote it around to retreats and expos and functions or friend's house to sew together, it's a great option for that if you're a bag maker. But you're probably going to want some little fold-up portable dolly that can support this, because it is heavy. You definitely need to lift with your legs, okay? Anyways, I really am enjoying using this, so I thought I'd maybe take it for a spin and show you some of the things that I really like about it and go from there. All right, so this is the Sailrite machine, and the power switch is back here in the very back. So I'm going to turn it on and you'll see the light comes on, but you don't hear any noise. It is a very quiet machine. So I'm just going to kind of go through and show you that I do already have it threaded. Your bobbin is accessible under here. So this just kind of slides out and the bobbin is down in here. This is that walking foot I was talking about. Now to put the foot down, there is a lever up here. So this is a little different than a traditional like domestic machine where you're used to like reaching under here or having a knee lift. This is on top of the machine. And you'll see as I'm using the hand wheel, you'll see that this two side of the feet come up and this one stays down. And then those go down. and the middle one comes up. And so they kind of alternate together. And so there's kind of like this side and this side are all one piece. It's connected in the back, but it looks like there's 3 different little feet here working together to walk across the fabric in conjunction with the feed teeth that are underneath so that you feed your material nice and easily through the machine. So here I just have some quilting cotton. Some really nice clean stitches, and it does a really good construction. So I wanted to show you the quilting cotton because I had mentioned that I had done some foundation paper piecing on this machine, and that's what I'm going to be teaching at the retreat. Okay, so just a quick little stitch up that I did is this little heart. I tested it with this because I wanted to do something very simple, wasn't going to use a lot of fabric, and it did a really good job with this. And this is the small size, a 3-inch square, and that's pretty small, so I feel like it did a really good job. All right, so then I decided to go a little bigger, and I did a 10-inch block of this adorable strawberry pattern. How cute is this? And this sewed up perfectly. I still even have the paper attached to the back, so you can see just how well it's stitched. And this was all done on the Sailrite with just a quilting cotton fabric and thread, and I just adjusted my settings and I changed the needle out for a smaller needle. So one thing I did change was my needle size. I did go down in needle size, which this machine handles it really well, and it handles the quilting cotton. But let me show you on a strip of denim, because I have some laying around from a bag I recently made, to show you how well it sews on that. Now, if you need to back stitch, you're just going to hold this down and let go when you're ready to go forward. And you can see it walking across the fabric. Now, there is a speed control right here. There we go. So you can adjust the speed on this machine, which is really nice, especially for those who are beginners. So it did such a great job stitching across this denim. Really good construction, really nice seams, nice and easy. So one thing I wanted to take a minute to explain was this area right here. Because it looks very different. This looks like the joystick of a car. This is your back stitch. So basically when it's in the up position, it's in a straight stitch or forward stitch motion. So this right here is telling it how long you want your stitch length. So right now I have it at a pretty low stitch length because I was doing foundation paper piecing. If I want to lengthen my stitch, I just loosen, see how easily it moves up? Just loosen this right here, and you can replace it anywhere you want in this point. So this is your stitch length, and it can go up to 6 millimeters long and 6 millimeters this way as well. Now this direction is your back stitch length. So you can control the length of your back stitch. So if I want a really long forward stitch and a really long back stitch, I would tighten these in right here. So this would be in my straight stitch or forward motion. It would make my stitches 6 millimeters long, but then when I want to go into my back stitch and I want them to also be long, then I need to bring it all the way down to here, because this bar, wherever it's at, is telling it how long that stitch is going to be, either in the forward motion or the backwards motion. Makes sense? So for my foundation paper piecing, I needed it pretty low, pretty short stitch length. And so I had it pretty low, right around here. And so when I would backstitch, I didn't want it to be long, so I brought this one up as well. So I really just needed a short little quick tack. Okay, so most people are probably going to keep theirs around the middle, especially if you're doing bag making. So I'm going to lengthen my stitch here, and I'm going to lengthen my back stitch here. There you go. You want to make sure those are nice and tight. So now this is my new stitch length. So what I'm going to do next is take out this domestic thread that I've been using and swap it out with some industrial like sewing machine thread. This is a polyester bonded thread by Saya Swag. It's Tech 45. It's this fun rainbow, which is always nice. So I'm going to put this on the machine, and then we're going to play with some other materials so you can see it stitch out as well. Another popular material to sew with is cork. So I thought I would take a second to show you how well it does sew cork. These are fun materials to work with to make wallets and different types of bags and craft projects. And my needle came unthreaded because I didn't hold my thread. Things that I forget to do because I'm so used to a domestic machine. So I hope you are watching this and going, okay, well, does she know what she's doing? I do. But it just takes practice with any new machine to get used to its quirks and isms, and industrial machines are very different than like a home domestic machine. So I just sometimes have to remember, like, I have to hold the threads when I first get started. The little back stitch there. So now I'm getting some really fun, nice looking stitches with this variegated rainbow thread. One thing that you're going to learn with these types of machines is how important tension is. And there's no like obvious dial here. You can adjust your tension here, and you just kind of have to kind of fiddle with it. And this is why it's so important to do some test sews on the material you're going to be making your project out of before you start your project. So I did a sew of a row of stitches here, and you can see those loops of the top thread standing up on the back of the material. I adjusted my tension, and now all of those loops are gone. So this was just a really loose tension, and I needed to make an adjustment. From the front, there's not a huge difference. These are just a little tighter up against the material than this. This one was probably a little too tight, so I did just loosen it again. So let's put it through again and see if I've hit the sweet spot. And this is just that trial and error that you have to do to find the right tension. And it's important when, you know, I was just sewing on this with quilting cotton thread and quilting cotton fabric. And so this is definitely a different material and different thread, so it's going to require some different settings. And you just have to be patient and play around with it. And it's kind of the fun of these machines. So let's see if I hit the sweet spot this time. So from the front, this third row right here is looking really nice. And from the back, it's looking really nice. It's not as tight as this, so you saw how easily it came out from under the foot. It looks really nice, and I think that's a good spot. So now I kind of know, hey, if I'm going to make a project with this material, that I've found the right sweet spot setting. So the last material I want to show you is a clear vinyl. This can be so tricky to sew and can be very challenging even on any machine. But this material is so fun to make fun little zipper pouches. I put all my clips in these, or my extra, feet accessories and those kind of tools for my machine. And so I love sewing with this stuff, but it can be tricky on some machines. So let's give this a test. I'm gonna see how it does. Let's just go with one row of material and see how it does. So the first thing I notice is it does feed through the machine really well. This material is notorious for sticking to machine surfaces, so it doesn't want to feed. So obviously this dual feed system is really helpful with feeding this sticky kind of plastic material through the machine. Now I do know that my tension is off, and I can see that already. So let's pull this out and see what I'm looking at. So this is kind of a mess and not what we want it to look like on the back side or the front side. And with this clear material, it's really important that you take some time to find the sweet spot for every material you're sewing with. So I tightened the tension here, and you can tell it's a big improvement from my previous row of stitches that were really messy to tighter stitches that look much nicer, but I think it could be a little tighter, so I am going to righty-tighty this a little more, just a hair, and see how it does. All right, so it looks even better this time. So I mean, every time you keep kind of adjusting it a little more. All right, so there you have it. I showed you that I can sew on quilting cotton and denim and cork and clear vinyl and all these other materials that you could possibly want to use to make bags or do any different types of projects. So I really enjoy it. It does take some getting used to. And one thing I want to say that I really love about Sailrite is their content on their YouTube channel for getting you started with their machines is very thorough but very easy to follow along. So if you go to thread it and you're like, I feel like something's off, you pull up the YouTube video, watch it. It's very clear and precise on exactly how to thread it. So if you have any issues, they troubleshoot that with you. So their educational tools are wonderful. You also get a really helpful book that goes through everything you could possibly need to know about all the parts of the machine, what is what, how to maintain your machine, troubleshooting issues, how to thread it, the bobbin, what this whole forward feed and reverse feed, so the forward stitch and the back stitch does, that I explained earlier. So a lot of that is in this manual, and it's very helpful. Really good photos. So I mean, you're not left going, what is it pointing to? What is it saying? Like, it's very detailed information. I really am impressed by this whole spiral bound manual with the really nice colored photos, I mean. So I'm just super impressed with this whole machine, all of its components, all of its pieces. It really breaks it down for you. So you have that plus all of their resources online. So for me, I highly recommend the Sailrite machine as an introduction to industrial machines. Maybe you don't have a space for a big table machine. Maybe you're just getting started into bag making and you want to have a really good machine. One that you could even take to sewing retreats. So I hope if you are coming to Lynn's Handmaid's retreat in October, I can't wait to see you. If you did rent one of these machines for the retreat, you'll get to take it for a spin. But if you did not, that's okay. Don't worry. If you're bringing your own machine, we will have a few extras for you to be able to try out or use. If your machine can't do something that we're doing, this will be able to take care of that for you. So yeah, you're going to get to take it for a test drive, which is exciting. But if you're not going to be able to be at that event, that's okay. These machines are great. There's some great videos out there. keep looking at them, and if you're interested, I highly recommend it. If you have any questions, I'll try my best to help answer them in the comments below. But like I said, I don't recommend a lot of machines. I have the ones that I like to use. This is kind of my first time doing one of these videos here on my channel, but I am just overly impressed with this machine. And like I said, it just takes some practice to get used to it. Like remembering that the foot, the lever that lifts the foot isn't underneath here, it's on top. And so for a while you're gonna keep reaching here until you get used to going up there. So it doesn't take long, but it is definitely worth the investment to get started into bag making and be set up for some great success. All right, so if you enjoyed this video today, then be sure to leave a comment, give me a thumbs up. Be sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel to stay tuned for next week's video. And I can't wait to see you then. If you're not following me on Instagram, you really should be. I do so much content over there, and I can't wait to start sewing with you. Until next week, bye.